Kesrick Williams walked away from millions and never looked back. And you won't believe what forced him to make that choice. You know that feeling when you're on top of the world one minute and everything comes crashing down the next? That's exactly what happened to this Caribbean cricket star who had Virat Kohli himself worried. But before we get into the shocking details of why he disappeared from international cricket, let me take you back to where it all started, because his journey is nothing like what you'd expect from a professional cricketer. Born on January 17, 1990 in a small place called Spring Village in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Kesrick Williams grew up in a family that breathed cricket. His mother wasn't just a cricket fan sitting in the stands. She actually played as a wicket-keeper for the first ever women's cricket team in St. Vincent. His older sister followed the same path and played for the national women's team too. Even his uncles were deep into community cricket, so you can imagine little Kesrick growing up with a bat and ball in his hands before he could probably even tie his shoelaces. But here's the thing. Nobody expected this tall, skinny kid from a tiny Caribbean island to become one of the most talked about bowlers in world cricket. Standing at 6 feet 3 inches, Williams had the height advantage. But it was his attitude and personality that would later make him a household name in cricket circles around the globe. March 2011 was when everything changed for him. That's when he made his first-class debut for Windward Islands. And while it wasn't some fairy tale start with wickets flying everywhere, it was the beginning of a journey that would take him to stadiums packed with screaming fans. For the next few years, he played domestic cricket, working hard, learning his craft, trying to perfect that fast medium bowling action that would eventually become his weapon. He played for teams like combined campuses and colleges, grinding it out in matches that didn't get much attention, earning nowhere near what the big international stars were making. But Williams kept pushing because he had a dream, and more importantly, he had a family back home that believed in him even when the rest of the world hadn't noticed him yet. Then came 2016, and this was the year that turned Kesrick Williams from an unknown domestic cricketer into a sensation. The Caribbean Premier League happened, and Williams was picked up by Jamaica Tallawahs for just $5,000 in the draft. Yeah, you heard that right, $5,000. Compare that to what top players get today, and it's basically pocket change. But Williams didn't care about the money at that moment. He cared about the opportunity. And boy, did he grab it with both hands. He picked up 17 wickets in that tournament, becoming the highest wicket taker for his team and the third highest overall. Suddenly everyone wanted to know who this guy was. Commentators were talking about him, fans were cheering his name, and most importantly, the West Indies selectors were watching very carefully. September 2016, and Williams finally got the call he'd been dreaming about his entire life. He was selected to play for the West Indies in a T20 match against Pakistan. Can you imagine what must have been going through his mind? A kid from Spring Village, a place most people can't even find on a map, was now wearing the maroon cap representing the entire Caribbean. His debut went okay, not amazing but not terrible either. He got a taste of international cricket, felt the pressure, experienced what it's like to bowl to some of the best batsmen in the world. But he didn't become famous overnight from that match. No, his real moment of glory was still waiting around the corner. Fast forward to 2017, and this is where things get really interesting. India came to tour the Caribbean for a limited over series. And if you know anything about cricket, you know India brings massive attention wherever they go. Millions of fans watching on TV, social media going crazy with every ball, and the pressure is intense. Williams was picked for the T20 series, and in one of those matches, he did something that changed his life forever. He got Virat Kohli out. Now you might be thinking, okay, so what? People get Kohli out all the time. But it wasn't just about the dismissal. It was about what happened next. Williams pulled out his now famous notebook celebration, pretending to write down Kohli's name in an imaginary notebook like he was collecting the names of batsmen he dismissed. The crowd went wild, cameras zoomed in, and within minutes that celebration was all over the internet. Millions of people who didn't even know who Kesrick Williams was yesterday were now talking about him. Kohli, being the competitor he is, later hit Williams for boundaries and did the same celebration back at him, which made the whole thing even more viral. This wasn't just cricket anymore, this was entertainment, this was drama, and Williams was right at the center of it. His T20 career really took off after that. He played 26 matches for the West Indies in T20 format, picked up 41 wickets at an average of 19.63. Those are solid numbers by any standard. His best bowling figures were for wickets for 28 runs against Bangladesh, and he even won a Man of the Match award against Afghanistan. For a while there, it seemed like Williams had made it. He was playing international cricket, getting recognized everywhere he went, signing contracts with different T20 leagues around the world, including teams in Bangladesh Premier League like Rajshahi Kings and Catagram Challengers, playing in the Global T10 League, and even going to Canada to play for Toronto Nationals. The money was coming in, not superstar money, but definitely more than what most people in St. Vincent could dream of earning. He played 8 ODI matches too, picking up 9 wickets. Though his ODI career never really took off the same way his T20 career did. But here's where the story takes a dark turn. And this is the part that most people don't know about. Behind all the celebrations and the social media fame and the packed stadiums, Williams was struggling. Really struggling. In 2022, his world started falling apart. His uncle, who had been his main cricket mentor growing up, the person who taught him how to bowl, who encouraged him when things got tough, passed away. Around the same time, his father was diagnosed with 4th-stage cancer. Imagine trying to focus on cricket, trying to perform at the highest level, trying to be entertaining and aggressive on the field when your family is going through something like that back home. The mental pressure was crushing him. He later opened up about feeling isolated in the West Indies team environment, feeling like he couldn't talk to anyone about what he was going through, feeling like he was expected to just show up and perform regardless of what was happening in his personal life. His performance started dropping. The wickets weren't coming as easily, the celebration didn't feel the same, and the joy he once had for the game was disappearing. He missed the SPPL in 2023, and in 2024 he was dealing with injuries. But the physical injuries weren't even the worst part, it was the mental and emotional exhaustion. Cricket is a tough sport mentally, especially for someone from a small island who doesn't have the same support system as players from bigger countries. There's no sports psychologist readily available, no massive support staff, no one really checking in on whether you're okay mentally. You're just expected to perform, and if you don't, you get dropped and forgotten. His last international match for the West Indies was in November 2020, and after that, he just slowly faded away from the international scene. No big farewell, no retirement announcement, just silence. People started wondering what happened to the guy with the notebook celebration, the guy who dismissed Virat Kohli, the guy who was supposed to be the future of West Indies fast bowling. And then in 2024, Williams finally spoke up, and what he said shocked everyone. He announced that he was done with international cricket, not because he couldn't play anymore, not because he wasn't good enough, but because he didn't have the energy for what he called the politics in sports. He said he didn't feel comfortable around certain people in the cricket environment, and that even if he was given another chance to play for the West Indies, he wouldn't take it. Think about that for a second. A professional cricketer who worked his entire life to play international cricket, who had the talent and ability to still compete at that level, was choosing to walk away because the environment had become toxic for him. He talked about mental health in Caribbean cricket and how there's barely any support for players dealing with personal issues or mental struggles. He became an advocate for better mental health resources in cricket, speaking openly about his own battles with depression and anxiety. This wasn't some retired player looking for attention. This was someone genuinely trying to make things better for the next generation of cricketers who might go through what he went through. So where's Kesrick Williams now in 2025? He's still playing cricket, but on his own terms. He's playing franchise cricket in various T20 leagues around the world. He signed with Miami Blaze in the Max 60 Caribbean League, plays for Devonport Vikings in the VPL T10, and represents Houston Riders in the Global Caribbean Premier League in the United States. He's traveling, playing the sport he loves, but without the pressure and politics of international cricket. He's not making the millions that top international cricketers make, but he seems happier, more at peace, more in control of his own career and mental health. Now about his personal life. And this is where things get really private. Unlike many cricketers today who share everything on social media, Williams keeps his personal life completely out of the public eye. There's no information available about whether he's married or has a wife. There's nothing about children. His Instagram account, which has about 28,000 followers under the handle kes.wills19_60, mostly shows cricket-related content with very little about his private life. There's a date mentioned on his profile, December 29, 2022, but nobody knows what it signifies. Is it an important personal date? An anniversary? The day something significant happened, he's never explained it publicly. When it comes to his house, cars, and lifestyle, again there's complete silence. He's never done a house tour, never posted pictures of expensive cars, never flaunted wealth like many athletes do today. This could mean a few things. Either he's extremely private and values his personal space, or he's living a modest lifestyle that doesn't involve the luxuries people might expect from a professional cricketer, or maybe a bit of both. Remember, Williams came from Spring Village in St. Vincent, a small community where people don't grow up with massive wealth. Even when he was playing international cricket, he wasn't earning the same kind of money that players from bigger cricket nations earn. A West Indies cricketer's central contract pays significantly less than what an Indian, English or Australian cricketer makes. Add to that the fact that his international career was relatively short, and you realize he probably didn't accumulate the kind of wealth that would afford multiple luxury cars and mansions. His estimated net worth is a mystery because there are no verified figures available anywhere. We know he got $5,000 when he was first drafted into SPPL in 2016. We know he played in various T20 leagues, which typically pay anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000 per season depending on the player's profile and the league. His West Indies contracts would have paid him something, though exact figures are never made public. If we're being realistic, his total career earnings probably sit somewhere in the range that's comfortable but not extravagant, especially after taxes and taking care of family expenses including his father's medical treatment. The truth is, Kesrick Williams represents something bigger than just one cricketer's journey. He represents the struggle of athletes from small nations who don't get the same opportunities, support, or recognition as athletes from bigger countries. He represents the mental health crisis in professional sports that people are only now starting to talk about openly. He represents what happens when the system fails to take care of its players beyond their performance on the field. His notebook celebration became viral and brought him fame, but that fame came with pressure, expectations, and eventually loneliness when things got tough. Today, Williams is 35 years old and still has cricket left in him. He's playing in leagues that appreciate his talent without suffocating him with politics and pressure. He's advocating for better mental health support in Caribbean cricket, hoping that younger players won't have to suffer in silence like he did. He's living life on his terms, even if that means walking away from the dream that most cricketers would die for. There's something powerful about someone who knows their limits, who chooses mental peace over money and fame, who isn't afraid to speak truth even when it might hurt their career. The legacy of Kesrick Williams isn't just about wickets and celebrations. It's about a cricketer who brought flair and personality to the game, who gave fans memorable moments, who dismissed some of the best batsmen in the world, but who also had the courage to walk away when the environment became unhealthy. His story reminds us that behind every athlete we see on TV, there's a human being dealing with real problems, real emotions, real struggles that we know nothing about. The next time you watch cricket and see a player celebrate a wicket, remember that there might be pain behind that smile, pressure behind that aggression, and a whole life story that nobody talks about. Drop a comment below if you think cricket boards should do more to support players' mental health. And make sure you hit that subscribe button because stories like these need to be told.